Welcome to the Ozark Arctic, where we're expecting somewhere between 10 and 14 inches of snow, actual air temperature of -10 tonight, with wind chills much colder than that. And quite frankly, this is not weather we're used to here in the part of the Ozarks that I live in, anyhow. This happens, I'd say, once every 3 to 5 years. And so people are kind of losing their mind. They're scared, they're worried. They went and bought all those diamonds and egg cartons at the grocery store, along with milk and bread and everything else. And that got me to thinking, 10 to 14 inches of snow, it's the same substance, whether it's in Louisiana or Minnesota. The difference is people in Minnesota are used to it. And so that got me to questioning my own life. And what have I gotten used to, good and bad? What is it that I'm comfortable with, both good and bad? And what am I doing about it? My name is Justin. This is Built on Faith Homestead. I ask you stick around for the rest of the conversation. So like I said before, this is not the type of weather that we here in the Ozarks are used to. It doesn't happen real often enough that we're prepared for it, at least somewhat, most of us, but not so often that we're just accustomed to it, if that makes sense. The largest snow I ever remember was somewhere right around 2 foot, whenever it was that I worked for a local water department, and trying to find a water meter in 2 foot of snow, well, that wasn't a whole lot of fun, if I'm just being honest with you. So, like I said, people are kind of losing their minds. They're worried. They're buying all the groceries up and all those kinds of things. And I know that's just how people react whenever you're scared, is you try to find security. I'm not saying that's a wrong thing to do necessarily, but like I said earlier in the video, 10 to 14 inches of snow, it's the same substance whether you're in Louisiana or Minnesota. So really what it comes down to then is, what is it that you're used to? So then when I think about that in my own life, there are things that I'm used to. It does not bother me to butcher animals. It doesn't bother me at all. I can watch a deer out in a field and appreciate the creation that God has given us to live in. And I can harvest that deer and be incredibly thankful that God allowed me to harvest that deer. And I can do the whole process, right? I can skin it, I can gut it, I can process that deer down, I can grill it then. And none of those steps bother me. None of them affect me in any way, good or bad, right? I'm just thankful for it. So in that way, I say, hey, I am used to this. It does not cause fear or an anxiety down inside of me. It's just something I'm comfortable doing. In fact, it's something I'm so comfortable doing that I appreciate doing very much, and I like to help other people do those things, especially those that's never done it. It's something that I greatly enjoy, is taking people hunting that's never been, helping people process deer that's never processed deer, and then teaching them different ways to cook that deer. Like, I enjoy doing that very much. But then there's other things in life that I'm not so comfortable doing. There's other things that I would have to push myself to do. And so then I have to ask myself, am I pushing myself? Am I facing those fears? Am I facing them head on? And the only way I know to handle that is with much prayer, obviously, and much fasting, but also doing it. Right? So when the Bible speaks of putting on the full armor of God, it said, whenever you've done all, just stand. Right? When you've done everything else, just stand. Just go. Just do it. And we all know this down inside. We all know the only way to not be anxious and fearful about things a lot of times is just to face it. Is just to face it head on. We teach our children this, or at least I teach my children this, right? My oldest daughter, she's doing homeschool and different things and getting older and being exposed to different things in different parts of life. Some things are scary to her. And I've told her that 9 times out of 10, what we've made up in our head is a lot scarier than the actual thing. And if you'll just go face it, it'll get better. But then I have to analyze my own life and ask myself, am I pushing myself the same way? And this snowstorm has really brought that to the forefront of my mind and kind of lit a fire down inside of me to say, hey, Justin, you need to push yourself a little bit more. You need to put yourself out there a little bit more. And I'm not saying doing something very risky or just something stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm talking about. But things that maybe you avoid typically, maybe you should face them head on. truth of the matter is, no problem has ever been solved by running from it. It just comes back eventually, right? Unless you want to say like running from a bear or something, right? But just most things in life are not taken care of by running from. You can only get them took care of by facing them. So if you're scared to butcher animals and you get an opportunity, get in and butcher some animals, right? If you're scared of maybe going fishing at night, the only way to solve that is to go fishing at night, right? And whatever else in life, you can apply this to all kinds of things. If you're worried about paying your bills, the best way to do that is to get in and pay your bills. If it scares you to talk to whoever on the phone, talk to them on the phone anyhow. Face that fear, get it took care of. And I think that we all would grow individually if we would face those things. But then there's also the flip side of that coin, and that is this. What is it that we're used to that's not good, right? So you might hear some old-timey preachers talk about getting used to the dark. So many sinful and awful and atrocious things we get used to because it's the world we live in now. And things that would offend. Let me give you an example. Last week, we're filling in at a church close to our home, just helping them out for a few weeks here. And we went back to my in-laws' house, and my father-in-law was watching Gilligan's Island. And the men were dressed up like women, and it was a joke, and it was funny, and it was meant to be funny and outrageous. And I laughed and told him, my father-in-law, I said, look here, this was meant to be comical. This was meant to be a skit that made people laugh whenever Gilligan's Island was produced. And today, this would be taken very seriously, right? Or either that or they would have been sued for mocking it. One of the two. So that's what I mean by getting used to the dark. What kinds of things have we gotten used to that should be causing a reaction anyhow? But it's not, because we are used to it. See, this snowstorm has really brought that to the forefront of my mind and challenged me. So comment down below. Let me ask you, what is it that you're scared of facing? Maybe even just admitting some of those fears would go a long ways to helping us out. And what is it that we can look at in our world and go, we should have never got used to that? It should not be normal. This is not okay. And it should not be normal and okay. This should not just be a part of our lives now. We should be addressing this. Once again, my name is Justin. This is Built on Faith Homestead. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on the next video. Stay warm. Pray for those in our area and whoever else is affected by this big Arctic blast going across the country. Pray for those that have to work out in it. Pray for those that are trying to work out in it. Pray for people that I know are going to lose livestock and different things. It's going to be hard on people with these types of temperatures. Also, man, my heart really goes out today whenever I think about those that maybe have no home or don't have no way to heat it, maybe don't have no shelter, whatever that may be. So be much in prayer for people like that. And if you can help somebody out, given the opportunity, help them out. Now's not the time to shut your door in the face and tell people they're not welcome. We just read James, or reading the book of James at our family Bible reading time. And if you were to send them out with no clothing and no food, then your faith has died. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on the next one.